Hello. Today I want us to discuss diagrams, and that is basically we are discussing the presentation of data. Presentation of data. So in this case we discuss diagrams and we start with bar charts. So remember, this is a way of presenting data in form of charts actually. So in diagrams we have bar charts, we have pictures, that is you can use pictograms, you can as well use pie charts. So all these they are in diagrams. So for today let us discuss bar charts. So on the bar chart, so you basically using you representing information in form of bars. That is the simplest way I can place it. And so for this case, I want us to discuss simple bar chart and component bar chart. So for simple bar chart, I want us to use this data for us to come up with that bar chart. And on this question that we have here, we have this company, a manufacturing company, manufacturing biscuit, bread, and cakes. And their sales, they are for 4 years. So remember, previously we talked about how to come up with tables. So in this case, this is already in form of a table. We want now to continue processing our data. We want to come up with with diagrams. Yes. So let's go on. Let's see how you're supposed to come up with this bar chart. So a simple bar chart. Remember so in this case, you're supposed to consider that you need to have a form of a graph, x and y axis. It's a kind of form of graph actually, an x and y axis. And from there, you need to take care of your y axis only. For bar chart, we only consider the y axis scale. That is something that you need to put into consideration, y axis scale. And from there, remember for x axis, you are only putting your independent variable, which is our years. So here we have you have to label your axis, years. Then on the y axis we have sales. And our sales, you see here at the top, it is indicated that it is in shillings, and then there are these 3 zeros, meaning, for example, this is not just 200, it is 200,000. So you must put that below the sales. So we will have it there to show that those zeros they are in consideration on our working. Okay. And then we label our axis. So since we are only coming up with a simple bar chart, we will only put into consideration the years and the total sales for the 4 years. So in that case, when you are coming up with the y-axis scale, you have to check the highest figure, which is 400. In this case, my scale is supposed to accommodate 400. So in this case, I can say, let 1 centimeter, assuming this is 1 centimeter, let it represent 100. In your case, you can draw a graph with only 50. So in this case, 1 centimeter or 1 square will be representing 100. That is actually 100,000 shillings because of these 3 zeros. So here we'll have 100, then I have 200, 300, and 400. Okay, and then I will start with my first year, which is 2005. So for 2005, so again in this case I will leave a space in between my bars. So here I will have 2005, then my 2005, the total is supposed to be 200. So my bar is supposed to go up to 200. Okay. Up to 200. Then the next year is 2006. So So 2006, the total is 300. So this is supposed to move up to up to 2000 and up to 300, sorry. So in this case we are on 2005. That is the next year, which is 2006. So remember, you're supposed to use a ruler to ensure that you have a very straight diagram. So this is 2006. And then 2007, we have 300 as well. So our bar will be next. And the spaces, they are supposed to be equal. And also the bars should be equal. So those are just key things that you need to note when you're drawing a bar chart. And then lastly, we have 2008, which is at 400. So that is my bar chart. You see, the spaces, these spaces are supposed to be, the spaces that you're leaving in between your bars, they're supposed to be equal. And then now you can shade your bars. So the next thing, your bar should have a title. These are diagrams. These are just rows. You should label your axis, and then also your bar should have a title. So in this case, for example, this is a simple bar chart. The title should be a simple bar chart. A simple bar chart of representing cells against years. Yeah, as simple as that. So that is a simple bar chart. And then we need to come up with a component bar chart. So in component bar chart, you're supposed to represent each component in your bars. So I will start with an actual component bar chart. There is also a percentage component bar chart, which will be discussed in the next video. So in this case, a simple or an actual bar chart, how should it look like? So now, for what we have here, it is a simple bar chart. But in this simple bar chart, I can change it to be a component bar chart. What do I mean by that? For example, so if I take, for example, 2005, the total is 200. So 200, how do I represent each component? So if I want to represent each component, I must have a key for each component. So this is something that is coming into place now. Now we are not on a component, but on simple bar chart, it is component bar chart. So a key is key. It should be there. You should have a key. So for example, I can say these ones will represent biscuit. Then we have for cake and for bread and for cakes. So for bread it will be empty. Then for cake it will be that way. It will be represented like that. So the first figure is 50. So where is 50 on my scale? So it is in between 100 and 0. So this will be representing biscuit, sorry. Then bread is supposed to be 80. But remember, the total is 200. So at the end of it, it's supposed to be 200. At the end of it, it's supposed to be 200. So 80, how do I represent 80? So it's supposed to be 50 plus 80. That's giving us 130. So it will be around Remember, I'm just estimating, but for your case, you're supposed to be using a very good graph paper. So this will be my 30. My 80, sorry. Then the remaining is supposed to be 70. So in this case, this will be that will be our case. That is for 2005. So we do the same for 2006. For 2006. So the total is 300. We already have a bar for 300. And then we have 100 for the first year. So in this case, we have 100 for biscuit. So biscuit, we're using that to represent it. Then we have the other 100, it's for bread. Then the remaining is for cake. Simple as that. Here, this was easier because it was 100, 100, 100. And then for 2007, the total is still 300, but the first year it's 100. The second, biscuit is 100, then bread is 110. So 100 for biscuits. So that is how we are showing it. And then we have 110 for bread. So this will be 100 plus 110. That will give us a total of 210. So we're supposed to identify the mark for 210. Like that, 110. Then the remaining should be 90, representing K. Then for 2008, same case. Same case for 2008. The first item, which is our biscuit, is 130. So you identify where your 130 is on your graph paper. You represent your biscuits. And then the other item is bread, which is 120. So you have to get 120 plus 130. That will give us a total of 250. Then you identify 250 on your y-axis. 250. Assuming that is approximately 250, then the remaining should be 150, which is representing cakes. Yeah, that's it. So meaning we just use the graph which we had for simple budget to come up with a component budget. But in this case, the difference is, you can see the difference here. For simple budget, we didn't have any as in the individual components are not supposed to be represented. But for component budget, it's supposed to be represented. So this is basically an actual component budget, or simply a component budget. So the next thing that we need to discuss is about a percentage component budget. So in that case, let it be in the next video together with the other type of budget, which is multiple budget. Thank you.